Now, I'm sure there are ways for you to incorporate that and then try to be a little bit more present. But every time I see it, I'm like, yeah, you're not even a part of that. So how can we also change the dog's emotional response to a trigger and still be part of it? Still be present in it, still be in the event sequence, not a passive observer, but the person that is able to influence the dog. Yes, today on the podcast, tossing treats, making it worse for your fearful dog? Perhaps it is. Can we make it better? I think we can, friend. Let's get into it. Ready to have a calm and peaceful life with your dog without the stress of those fear-based behaviors? Hi, I'm Tracy, and I've been there, overwhelmed by all the conflicting dog training advice and unsure of what to do next. But now I help dog lovers like you simplify your life with your dog by building confidence naturally, fostering trust, and addressing those fear-based challenges. So, if you're ready, stop chopping those chicken wieners and let's get to it. Hey there, friend. Can I be real for a second? Listen, I know you've tried the treats and you've tried all the equipment and you've given space and you've crossed the street so many times you don't even know where you live anymore. And you've done all the things and yet your dog is still scared or reactive. If you feel that knot in your stomach every time you clip on that leash, if you dread taking your dog for a walk, if you've stopped inviting people over because you just can't trust how your dog will respond, and deep down you're wondering, gosh, is this really what I signed up for? I wanted to let you know that I see you, because I've been you. And the truth is, it's not about treats or tools. It's honestly about trust, but more importantly, it's about learning how to show up every day without second guessing yourself, without feeling like you're failing. And if that's where you are right now, I want to invite you inside the Fearless Framework. It's my online 12-month program. Now, you know what? It's not just a program. It's a relationship-first roadmap to help you lead with calm, clarity, and confidence. So if that's something that you need, head on over to beyondobedience.ca/fearless. Let's get you out of survival mode, my friend, and back into the kind of life you had hoped for when you got a dog. I'll see you there. Well, hello, my beautiful friend. It is Tracy. Welcome to Beyond Obedience, the podcast. Super duper welcome. If you're brand new, it's a brand new month. Can you believe it's December already, friends? Oh my gosh, it's December. I have to tell you that in the studio today, we are joined by two special guests. We have Gunther and Nike. That's a terrible combination. If you've been following me on Facebook, you know that's a terrible combination. But right now, oh no, he's got something in his mouth. I was gonna say right now he's being good. What's in your mouth? This is real time stuff. What is that? I don't think that's supposed to be in your mouth. Oh my God. Who knew owning a puppy would be constantly asking, coming back, what's in your mouth, friend? See? I told you it was a terrible idea. We're just going to roll with it. Because while I have the house to myself, I feel bad. Oh, gosh, this is an insight into like everything. I feel bad putting them back in their crates while I do this, but I can't trust them, either one of them. And most times if they're here with me, they're just hanging out with me. So I thought, well, I'll bring you down here and you can hang out with me here, but well, we'll see what happens. So far, I've pulled this thing out of his mouth. That's all puppyhood is, right? It's just what's in your mouth. I spend my days just like, what is in your mouth? Why is there always stuff in your mouth? All right. Welcome. Real time living with dogs. All right. Today on the podcast, this is going to come out as a controversial kind of a thing, because why not start December, the holiday season, with full-on controversy? Yay! Because why not? Now, you want to know something? I wanted to kind of talk about this because I see this all the time. people have even called me out on it here on the podcast or on my Facebook about this idea of using treats to help fearful or reactive dogs. Now, full disclosure, I'm not against using treats. Oh my gosh, do you have something in your mouth again? Oh, it's a toy. It's all good. I just heard chewing. I did come prepared. I brought him toys. So I've been called out on it before, and by some very, very smart people. And I want to make sure that I'm saying what I'm saying, and not because I'm not backing down. Just because smart people said that I was wrong doesn't mean I'm backing down. I'm not stubborn like that. No. I want to actually sort of clarify some things, because what normally happens when I talk about not using treats, and oddly enough, and I will say this, it is one of the things that many people that come into my sphere will say that they like. They're like, I like the fact that I don't have to just constantly give my dogs treats. And I always found that interesting because we're walking around in a world where we're saying don't ever say no to your dog and just reward them for good behavior and give them treats and give them treats and give them treats and give them treats. And so many people have come to me and been like, I got to end up with a fat dog. That's what I ended up with. And I get it. So I want to just kind of set the record straight, especially around this concept about changing your dog's emotional response to a trigger. Okay, so essentially, this is a technique where, you're outside the threshold where the dog isn't going to have a complete meltdown. So the dog's able to make choices, and the dog sees the trigger, and we toss food on the ground, and the dog then goes to find the food, and that whole thing shifts their brain into the hunting, seeking, searching, the seeking something system. Anyway, and then smart people will tell you about the parasympathetic and the sympathetic system and all that stuff. And it's all, I'm not saying it's wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not that's not true. That's not what I'm saying. Conspiracy theorist. That's not true. That's actually not what I'm saying. All of that is true. And so those things do work, and they have all the examples of how it does work, and all of that to be true. So let's just put that there. But two things can be true at the same time, right? And here's where I really want people to focus on, okay? Because I have seen so many videos of this. And when you see a video, it's there's the dog, and the trigger is over there, and the dog sees the trigger, and they toss the food on the ground, and then they say crazy words or whatnot, and the dog is doing the sniffy sniff thing, and it's picking up the stuff, and then it goes back, and it looks at the dog, and they throw more food, and, eventually, actually, to be honest with you, I don't know what happens if the dog just keeps eating forever or what happens. Because you usually don't see the messy middle or the end result. You just see those things. Anyway, but what I look at, and what I've always looked at, what I've always focused on when I watch videos and when people send me videos, is not what the dog is doing, but what is the human being doing, right? Because I always want to ground us back in this idea that we are participating or not in these events. And every single time I see a video that involves tossing food down, it is always the human just standing there staring at their dog, watching the dog eat the food, and then watching the trigger, watching the dog, oh mom, we're almost out of food, throwing more food down. And essentially, you're a passive participant in this event sequence. You're just the Pez dispenser throwing the food. Now, I'm sure there are ways for you to incorporate that and then try to be a little bit more present. But every time I see it, I'm like, yeah, you're not even a part of that. So how can we also change the dog's emotional response to a trigger and still be part of it, still be present in it, still be in the event sequence, not a passive observer, but the person that is able to influence the dog. That's what I am constantly trying to incorporate into my work. So for me, I would almost rather be there with them, looking at the trigger, and then almost, I would say, even handing them the food or putting the food down, but being a part of it and wrestling around in the thing and kind of being with it, but acknowledging to the dog that I see the thing and that I'm okay with the thing. And I will sort of also add to this that I want to make sure outside of the triggering events, I am doing everything I can to partner up with this dog. Because believe it or not, I truly believe that you have the ability to positively influence your dog. Your mere presence, how you show up, has an effect on your dog. It's just we quite often pull ourselves out of the event and just toss food and be like, here, think about the food. Don't think about that. What about think about the food and the fact that I'm here? What if we could combine those two forces together? What if the food wasn't a distraction from the thing, but rather a game that we play together? Like, how can I be a part of it is essentially what I'm saying, right? Like as I mentioned before, now again, he wasn't being crazy reactive, but very early on when Gunther is still very young. Gunther is what, 5.5 months old? I'm not good at that. There's people that keep track of that. They're like, my dog is, 17 weeks old in 3 days. And I'm like, I have no idea. He was born July 2nd. Do the math yourself. That's dog math. I don't know. It's like, we were laughing about, this is a complete sidebar. We were laughing about that the other day because we went to order pizza and we normally just order like a large. And they were like, is that a 16-inch or an 18-inch? And I'm like, I don't know. That's pizza math. How do I know? What? I'm not a pizza expert. Just a large, whatever large is. You're becoming the Starbucks of the pizza world. Like, I don't know. Just give me a large. Weird insight I just gave you. But anyway, how did I even get there? Oh, yeah, dog math. So Gunther is still very young, but when he was younger, we were out and my husband was getting dental work done. It was in an area, I don't know where we were, so I'm like, I'll just take him for a walk. We ended up going for a walk behind some car dealerships, and there was this road where big trucks were flying down the road, and it scared the bejesus out of him. And while I could have been somebody that like gave him a bunch of treats and asked him to just sort of sit and eat food and deal with it, I didn't have treats. Full disclosure, I don't walk around carrying treats with me all the time. It's one of the downsides to treats, if I'm being 100, right? Like, unless you're someone that always has your treat pouch on you, you don't know. So you don't know where the next fearful stimulus is going to come from. I feel like we have to be like Wonder Woman and just like find a little corner and then spin around, a glowy light comes out, and then we end up in our Wonder Woman suit, which includes a treat pouch and balls and all the gear that you need to help distract your dog. That was a weird visual. This episode has really gotten away on me. Maybe it's the influence of the two crazy dogs that are in here. I don't even know what they're doing. What are you two doing? There's so much shenanigans going on behind me. Anywho, what's I talking about? Oh, the trucks. So I didn't have treats, and he was visibly freaked out by them, and rightfully so. They made loud noises. This dog has been living in the country. He doesn't see trucks every day. And so what did we do? I sat down on the ground. I looked at the trucks. He was kind of like at the end of his leash, like kind of freaking out. Eventually he came over and he sat with me, and then we both watched trucks for a good while. I can't remember how long, but it was a good long time. Like my butt got numb. That's how long I was sitting there for. But we just watched the trucks go by. And eventually he laid down beside me and put his head on my lap and fell asleep in the presence of these big scary things. So I chose that moment to sit and be in it with him, to use my body language, my energy, my influence to influence his emotional state of mind, because I had nothing else. Now, I know some of you that have like full-on reactive dogs are going to be like, I don't think that's going to work for me, Tracy. I know it's not going to work for you right away because, you know, habits and patterns and triggers and trigger stacking and other jargon. Can you hear the shenanigans going on behind me? They're wrestling. These are the mistakes I've made, bringing dogs down into the podcast room. I don't know if you can hear those shenanigans, but there's shenanigans going on. Anyway, we're just going to ignore them. We're going to press on. So obviously it's not going to be that easy. And that's why I say you're going to work on all of these things outside of the triggering event. I want you to look for a million different ways in the day that you can partner up with your dog. A million different ways in the day that you can influence your dog. A million different ways that you can find a way to not say obedience commands, but find ways to influence their behavior. Find quiet moments where you can sit and be with and just sort of take some deep breaths. And can you get your dog to calm down just in your presence? And then find some touch points. Like, what kind of touch does my dog like? Can I incorporate touch? You know how like sometimes when we get really, really anxious or whatnot, like a hug from your best friend or your significant other just is everything to you. It just melts away the anxiety. Can we do that with our dog? Can we influence with touch, with calming touches and presence and all of those things? Can you find a million different ways to do that outside of the event and keep on working on it and building up and building up and building up, and then still do the same threshold work if you want to, where the trigger is across the street, or if it's dogs and you go to the dog park and they're way over there. Can you sit in the grass and just be with your dog and watch the dogs and have that be a moment where your dog got to be in the presence of other dogs with you, just hanging out, being calm, being with, and then you went home and nothing happened. And we life layer those experiences. If you've had a dog that's had a bad experience with other dogs, maybe they've been attacked or whatever, the more times that you can life layer this experience of, we saw dogs and you didn't die, and now you're home in your comfort zone and we're back in our routine and everything's calmed back down and you didn't die, that's fantastic. Now again, I'm not against the whole utilizing the sniffing, seeking, sniff gain, scatter feeding system to engage the parasympathetic nervous system, right? This is your rest and digest side of the nervous system. I'm not against that. I'm just saying that we do it in a way that still includes us. So we're not just this outsider just tossing cookies and being like, go rest and digest. Like, do it on your own time kind of a thing. I really want to encourage people to actually be an active part of it. So there you go. That's sort of where we're at with that. So toss and treats could be making things worse for your fearful dog. And more importantly, for your relationship with your dog. I know I keep repeating myself, but I still want to be part of it, right? I just want to be a part of it. I want them to be able to be like, you're here, you feel okay, so therefore I feel okay. And that can happen for you. That can 100% happen for you and your dog. All right. I think that's it, my friends, for today. I think that's it, my friend. Toss of treats making things worse for your fearful dog. Only if you're not a part of it, friend. Only if you're not a part of it. Listen, if you like this kind of thing, be sure to share this episode with a dog-loving friend that you think needs to hear it. As well, head on over to Apple Podcasts. Give me a 5-star written review, comment on Spotify, review over there, all the things. They help to push this podcast out to more and more people, which is the goal, my friend. More and more people joining us here on the podcast. Dog lovers like you and I. What could be better? As always, I want you to get out there today, my dog loving friend, and be the person that your dog thinks you are, because your dog thinks that you are amazing. And so do I. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now. Oh, I have to tell you, now that I'm done, they're asleep. Dogs. Am I right? Listen, this podcast is meant for entertainment and education purposes only, and it's not meant to replace hands-on professional training. If you are really struggling with your dog, please reach out to a professional in your area. All right, I think that's it. Bye for now.